President Pauline Whiteman, and members of the executive leadership team of the Caribbean Association of Home Economists, Incorporated, CAHE, Presidents of Honor of CAHE and of the International Federation for Home Economics, IFHE, honorary members of CAHE, Dr. Gwendolyn Hutsford, President of the IFHE, distinguished keynote speaker, Dr. Peggy O'Neill, Reverend Dione Duncan, accredited minister in the Jamaica Baptist Union, Jamaica, distinguished dignitaries of ministries of education across the region, representatives of government and non-governmental agencies, delegates, specially invited guests, artists, members of the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. A very pleasant good evening to you, and to members in Jamaica, a very pleasant good afternoon. I pause here to ask the Jamaican participants to allow me to say evening going forward, as in most of the territories, it is indeed evening. Let us receive the national anthems from the member territories. Please stand with me as we do so.
Our ancestors bled and died, but with strength and with power we overcame to restore Virgin Islands' pride. To fair Antigua and Barbuda, we thy sons and daughters stand, strong and firm in peace or danger.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth fertile. Our home is God by sea. When the alien time of me, when this fair land was young, our brave forefathers saw the sea from which our pride is sprung. A pride that makes no one come boast of what is best we stood. That rise on us from coast to coast, the pride of nationhood. Isle of beauty, Isle of splendor, Isle to all so sweet and fair, almost surely gazing in wonder at thy gifts so rich and rare. Rivers, valleys, hills and mountains, all these gifts we do extol.
Land of Guyana, of rivers and plains, made rich by the sunshine land, lashed by the rains. Say a gem light and fair between mountains and seas.
Eternal Father, bless our land. Guide us with thy mighty hand. Keep us free from evil powers. Be our light through countless hours.
De Borinquen, donde he nacido yo.
Oh, land of beauty, a country where peace abounds, as thy children stand free on the strength of will and love, with
Saint Vincent land so beautiful, with joyful hearts we pledge to thee.
lift up your head to the rising sun, Bahamas.
Forged from the love of liberty in the fires of hope and proud, with boundless faith in our destiny, we solemnly declare.
How heartwarming, a call to loyalty to our countries, done beautifully in songs. I am going to invite us to stand again, though, because we really can't sit for this one. It is the CAHE song, and it invites us to rock as we stand and join along in singing our theme song.
We chart a course through the region. Our aim is to walk hand in hand to educate the whole Caribbean, make a better life education. CAHE, we will work with you to put home ec on a higher level, impact positively on all our people, especially the youth. They depend on you. So Caribbean, home economist, Caribbean, home economist, Caribbean, home economist. March on, march on, march on. The time is now. Let's all play our part. A stronger link is what we aim at. So come one, come all. Join in this sing song. Let your voices sound throughout the Caribbean. CAHE, we will work with you to put home ec on a higher level, impact positively on all our people, especially the youth. They depend on you. So Caribbean, home economist, Caribbean, home economist, Caribbean, home economist. March on, march on, march on.
Caribbean home economists, march on. I feel the vibes. I'm not in a space where we all are, but believe me, I am feeling it. I saw the greetings, the notes coming up on the screen, and it is really, really wonderful to see the names of persons coming in from Barbados, coming in from Guyana. I'm seeing from London representing Guyana. So it's so great to see persons on and to know that we are all in the same space, though not really in the same place. It is my very pleasant task, ladies and gentlemen, to chair the opening ceremony of this historic event, the very first online or e-conference of the Caribbean Association of Home Economists Incorporated. I thank the planning committee for the support they're giving me, even as I am here representing them in this ceremony at the start of the conference. The theme of this year's conference merits emphasizing here: home economists, mindset, reset, navigating the new normal. I'm encouraged that we, the members of CAHE, have started to reset our mindset to operate in the new normal. The hosting of this conference this evening bears evidence to that. We are not naive, though, to think that the coronavirus is not happening. Ladies and gentlemen, to the contrary, the coronavirus is happening. We acknowledge, really, that COVID-19 a keep, we say in Jamaica. Interpretation for others, it is happening. We recognize that the virus is having a profound impact on the world and in a variety of ways: illness, discomfort, anxiety, death. To date, there are just over 127.6 million coronavirus cases. A little over 102.8 million have recovered. and a bit over 2.79 million have died. The thought of the virus is a constant for us, but we are living and operating with it. We have to. I'm encouraged that the vaccine is now being administered to bring further improvement to our circumstances. I applaud the governments of the countries in the Caribbean for the great job they are doing to help us to do what we need to stem the spread of the virus. I applaud the frontline workers, our healthcare professionals, the ministers of government, whether they're members of the ruling parties or whether they are members of the opposing parties, members of the security forces, ministers of religion, teachers, and so many others who are doing so much to help to make a difference in our current situation. Let us, as home economists, do our part to help us all see the back of this situation sooner than later. In the face of the challenge, we will not deny that the coronavirus has presented us with opportunities as well. Or having a conference online with about 500 persons registered is one of those opportunities. More of us are able to participate, and that is something special. The number is just about 200 above the largest conference we've had in the past, and we're grateful for that. We have been afforded many more opportunities that I will not delineate here, but instead invite us to join in the next 2 days for the engaging, enlightening, informative, empowering, heartwarming sessions that have been planned. I pause, ladies and gentlemen, to recognize that a number of our members who were with us about 2 years ago, some even at the last conference in Antigua and Barbuda, are not attending conference this year. Not because they don't want to, but because they can't. You see, a number of our sisters passed on during the course of the period that has elapsed between these conferences. Recall with me Natalie Hurst of Antigua and Barbuda, Magda Pollard of Guyana, Shonice MacDonald of Guyana, Joanne Miller Pearson of the USA, and Isilda French of Jamaica. They are no longer with us. Some of our members have also lost family members. We remember them as well. Let us observe a minute of silence as we recall fond memories and pray for their family members. May their souls rest in peace, and light perpetual shine upon them, and may their family members be comforted. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let us receive the opening prayer. This is to be prayed by the Reverend Yoni Duncan, who's a past home economics teacher, but currently serves as an accredited minister in the Jamaica Baptist Union, with pastoral responsibility for the Buff Bay Baptist Circuit in Portland, Jamaica. Stand if you can for the opening prayer.
Let us pray. Creating, redeeming, sustaining God, you called all creatures into being and made it possible for humans to live in communion with you and with each other. We praise you that you have come near to us. You illuminate our darkness and shed light on our path. As we gaze upon your holiness, we marvel at your glory. It is in your light we see ourselves for who we are. In coming near to us amidst the chaos of our lives, you have helped us to be present to your presence. In particular, over the 48 years as an association, we have experienced your hand at work in our lives. As we begin this conference, we lift our voices in praise, and with every breath that we take, we declare our hallelujahs belong to you alone.
Amen.
As we celebrate, we are mindful of the difficult circumstances brought on by the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. We are challenged on every side, but we are not consumed because of your steadfast love. We confess, O God, that sometimes fear and anxiety threaten to overwhelm us because of the new norms and the new ways of doing and being. But like you rode into Jerusalem, restoring hope among the dispossessed and marginalized, we ask that you reset our mindset in this conference. Help us not to be overtaken with skepticism and cautious optimism, but instead cause us to live as victors, for we are more than conquerors in Christ Jesus. We offer ourselves afresh to you and humbly pray that you help us to embrace the new ways of doing and the new possibilities of being an association relevant to today's Caribbean. Help us to pivot and focus on the resurrection hope that shows ultimately God and good conquer sin and evil in the world. By your Spirit, renew our minds and begin a new work in us, so we may be beacons of hope, truth, and light, whether we serve in the educational setting or in the industry and commerce, health, or the creatives. Open our eyes that we may seek and discover what you are doing in these unprecedented times and how you are calling us to respond to change. Help us to be intentional in using our knowledge and creative skills to enhance human flourishing and well-being, especially when many are losing hope and some have stopped dreaming of a better future. O God, in the words of the psalmist, we pray that in this conference, love and faithfulness will meet together, righteousness and peace shall kiss each other, and faithfulness will spring from the earth, and righteousness from the heavens. Give us what is good, so we may yield the harvest and be true to our mission to make a difference in the lives of people as they navigate the emerging challenges. We pray, O God, that you will guide this conference and that your will and your purpose will be fulfilled here on earth. In the name of Jesus Christ, who lives and reigns with you and the Father and the Holy Spirit, now and forever. Amen. Amen.
Amen. Amen. We thank God. Thank you, Reverend Duncan, for that awesome prayer. I know that each of us would have heard something in that prayer to take away for the rest of the conference. And I want to thank you for that. It's a powerful prayer that brings us to consider the purpose for which we are called and to be faithful in fulfilling that purpose, knowing that we are enabled by God to do so. Thank you, Reverend Duncan. Ladies and gentlemen, I would not have us go further in these proceedings without welcoming you warmly to this evening's activities. And I'm going to be calling on our president, Pauline Whiteman, to bring greetings as well as to bring remarks.
Reverend Biennial Duncan, Dr. Gwendolyn Hustvedt, President of the International Federation for Home Economics, Mrs. Elizabeth Walker, Chief Education Officer, Ministry of Education and National Reconciliation, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Mr. Floyd Scott, Director, Council for Tibet, Guyana, Dr. Peggy O'Neill, Research Professor, Mercier University College, Ontario, Canada, members of the CAHE Executive, members of the International Federation for Home Economics who have joined me this evening, members of our affiliate organizations, valued members of CAHE, home economists and other allied professionals, teachers, students, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. On behalf of the Caribbean Association of Home Economists, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome you to the 24th Biennial Conference of the Association, and more importantly, our first e-conference. Firstly, I must start today by wishing you and your families the best during these unprecedented times. This e-conference is one step in the right direction for all of us towards securing a brighter future for us as professionals, and by extension, home economics and the allied fields during such extraordinary and uncertain times. Despite this uncertainty, we must know that we can chart the way forward once we work together and support each other. Hence the reason why it was so necessary for us to host this e-conference. You are an integral part of the success of the association, and as such, we need to find more avenues like this e-conference to engage you, understand you, and above all, to forge new relationships and strengthen existing bonds. Therefore, we encourage you to use this conference to engage us, express your feedback, and to help us to better serve you. Over the past year, we have all been affected by the ongoing pandemic in terms of the way we work and live our daily lives. Some persons have been more severely affected than others and have lost loved ones and sources of income as a result of this crisis. It is not only a time for us to examine what we do, but how we do things in order to overcome the obstacles before us. Indeed, as outlined in our mandate, we must strive to improve the quality of life for individuals and families and to encourage continual professional growth in members of the home economics profession. The restrictions imposed on human activity by the COVID-19 pandemic, coupled with the digital transformation that is happening globally, has made it critical for the association to stay relevant in a post-COVID-19 world. Life, as we know it, has changed due to this ongoing pandemic. We continue to hear of this new normal. Throughout it all, the executive has been working to find avenues to reach our members and deliver on the mandate of the association. The theme selected is therefore aptly titled Home Economists, Mindset Reset, Navigating the New Normal. Indeed, it is anticipated that the benefits and scope of this event will be even more impactful, since we will be able to reach not only our members who may have otherwise been inaccessible, but other stakeholders far and wide. COVID-19 has presented unique challenges to all types and levels of learning, inclusive of home economics. Worldwide, many home economists have had their service delivery and lives disrupted as a result of this pandemic. Therefore, as leaders in the field, this event presents a pivotal opportunity to focus on specific topics that will benefit our members and, by extension, all home economists and professionals in the allied fields. I am positive that the information shared will redound to the benefit of students, parents, and community members. Consequently, this e-conference will focus on the areas of disruptive technologies and the tools for the virtual classroom, and will facilitate the sharing of perspectives on how we can navigate the new normal and emerge stronger and wiser in a brighter future. Home economists will be able to join the conversation on how to navigate the new normal, share their lived experiences in the session titled COVID-19 Chronicles, and sit with the home economics masters to participate in a conversation on mindset reset in the COVID-19 pandemic. Our panel of presenters represents a diverse cross-section of regional and international professionals in the field. So the next 3 days will definitely prove to be productive and beneficial for all of us. It is our fervent hope that the sessions will set the foundation for enhancing and excelling in our field during these challenging times. As expressed in the e-conference overview, the reality of the pandemic calls on us to be agile, innovative, and creative, and has therefore provided opportunities for us to grow and develop. A recurring theme throughout the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic is we are all in this together. It is a reminder that while all of us may not necessarily be experiencing the same struggles, we are often faced with similar circumstances as others, allowing us to engage in deep introspection and find a greater sense of empathy within us. Through this e-conference, we can continue to support each other while coming up with new ideas and solutions which will chart the way forward in the best interest of all concerned. I therefore encourage everyone to join us, listen to the presentations, and ask questions. Also, share your comments and feedback, as this will be useful and helpful for all of us. It is through the feedback from and collaboration with you, our valued stakeholders, that we can become more responsive to your needs. On behalf of CAHE, I thank our membership for your continued support over the years and for participating in such a historic event. And I must say, it is indeed historic, since we have close to 500 persons who have registered. To those of you who are not yet members of this August association, we encourage you to become active members. You will hear more about this on day 3 of the conference. I also wish to extend best wishes to all for health, peace, and safety for yourselves and your families. Please stay safe. And I must say that we all must note that Tanayayad directive is still in effect. Let us work towards emerging from COVID-19 stronger and more resolute than ever before. God bless and thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam President. A warm welcome indeed and fulsome remarks on the conference and on the activities that we will be engaging in throughout this meeting. We meet tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, and we meet on Tuesday as well. So thank you so very much, Madam President. I'm heartened, ladies and gentlemen, to be seeing you on the screen that I'm looking at. I'm seeing that there are 172 persons online, and that is really, really very encouraging. So thank you so much. I see Madam Chairperson of the Planning Committee smiling. She is really, really pleased with what is happening, and she has given you a royal wave. You may wave back at her. The President is pleased. I am so very happy to see persons I've known over the years of attending conference. I'm seeing new persons as well, and it is really, really a very great feeling for me. Sitting in the studio, probably a little bit all by myself, but not quite. I do have 6 men supporting me and holding me up, so I am well taken care of in this space, even without all of us home economists together. So very, very happy to be really experiencing this e-conference. Believe me, ladies and gentlemen, it feels warm, it feels good. It feels good, and I'm really happy to be sharing this moment with all of us. Thank you again, Madam President, for your welcome. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we move to the introduction of the executive members of the CAHE. And this is going to be done for us by the secretary of the team, Ms. Keisha Wendt of Barbados. Keisha?
This year, we cannot greet one another with hugs and kisses. Instead, we view this night's proceedings in the comfort of our homes, in front of our screens. Nonetheless, over the next 2 days, our screens will come alive. We have been ably led by the members of the executive chosen for the 2019 to 2021 term, comprising of Pauline Whiteman, President; Dr. Leonie Clark, First Vice President; Michelle Guy, Second Vice President; Sandra Murray, Assistant Secretary; Lucille Marcel, Chairperson, Finance Committee; Angela Graham Rudolfo, Treasurer; Bernadette Alspierre, Assistant Treasurer; Iris May Gums, Chairperson, Public Relations Committee; Sheila Robertson, Chairperson, Publications Committee; Dr. Hope Main, Chairperson, Education Committee; Claudia Brown-Wilson, Chairperson, Research Committee; Lynette Burke, Chairperson, Nominating Committee; Anita John, Chairperson, Membership Committee; Dr. Antonia Coward, Immediate Past President; Consultants, Audrey Jones-Drayton and Norma Washington; and lastly, myself, Keisha Wendt, Secretary. At this time, I'm asking that you turn on your cameras, but remember, keep your mics muted. I want you to wave your flags, snap your fingers, and join me as we welcome the territories present.
Thank you so very much, Keisha. Ladies and gentlemen, the executive team is really very pleased to have been serving you over the past 2 years, and we will continue to do so until we are no longer required to, until a new group of individuals assume these responsibilities. But it is our pleasure to serve you. I must say welcome to the 80 persons so far on YouTube. I'm not sure how many are on Facebook, but I'd like to welcome you all as well. Thank you for joining in and being a part of this wonderful occasion. We love to hear from persons who have something encouraging to say to us, who have something inspiring to say to us, and who want to encourage us. And so we turn now to the greetings, which are going to be coming from Dr. Gwendolyn Hustved, who is the president of the International Federation for Home Economics, Mrs. Elizabeth Walker, who is the Chief Education Officer in the Ministry of Education and National Reconciliation in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and to Mr. Floyd Scott, who is the director of the Council for TVET in Guyana. The greetings from these three persons will follow us in that order.
Dear President Whiteman, dear valued members of the Caribbean Association for Home Economics Incorporated, CAHE, and participants of the CAHE Biennial Conference. My name is Dr. Gwendolyn Hustved, and on behalf of the International Federation for Home Economics, of which I am president, I welcome you to the 24th Biennial Conference of the Caribbean Association for Home Economics Incorporated. CAHE has been a valued member of our international network for the 48 years, unbroken since your founding. Congratulations are in order for the commitment of CAHE and of Caribbean professionals to home economics regionally and internationally. Many Caribbean home economists have risen to prominent policy-level decision positions and have received national honors and commendations, as well as serving IFHE faithfully in positions of leadership. I am honored to be invited to share my thoughts with you, especially as your event's theme, Home Economics, Mindset Reset, Navigating the New Normal, resonates with the mission economics regionally and internationally. Many Caribbean home economists have risen to prominent policy-level decision positions and have received national honors and commendations, as well as serving IFHE faithfully in positions of leadership. I am honored to be invited to share my thoughts with you, especially as your event's theme, Home Economics, Mindset Reset, Navigating the New Normal, resonates with the mission of the International Federation for Home Economics. IFHE unites professional organizations, research institutions, and educators from around 70 countries who believe in the power of individual choices to transform global societies towards a sustainable future. Our mission is to advocate research and education for the responsible use of resources at the household and consumer level, and through this contribute to achieving a sustainable living for all. Our profession spans multiple academic disciplines and values home as a place where equality reigns and everyone can develop their full potential. The theme of your biennial conference is of great importance not only in the Caribbean, but at our global platforms too. CAHE serves as a channel for disseminating our position statements, such as the one we made this past month to the United Nations Commission on Social Development about the impact of the digital divide on women and their families globally. We are also pleased to see individual schools and universities in the region celebrating World Home Economics Day on March 21st, which in 2021 has the theme of Age-Friendly Homes and Communities. The International Federation for Home Economics is most pleased to count CAHE and many committed individuals from the Caribbean amongst its members who contribute to joint research, virtual training, and webinars, as well as publications in our journal, the International Journal of Home Economics. The international recognition of our profession is based on the commitment of home economists in many countries, the valuable work they do to achieve a quality of life for all. It is a pleasure to see this professional community thrive and exchange here in the Caribbean on the occasion of this biennial conference. I wish all of you an inspiring conference and fruitful outcomes.
The pleasure is mine to bring you greetings on behalf of the Minister of Education and Reconciliation, the Honorable Curtis King, on the occasion of your first virtual conference. This conference is being held at a time when you're celebrating 48 years as an association. We celebrate with you on achieving this milestone and offer our warmest congratulations. The Caribbean Association of Home Economists, we salute your achievement. Your 24th virtual biannual conference's theme, Home Economics, Mindset Reset, Navigating the New Normal, is quite fitting as we work to combat the many challenges especially those brought on due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The pandemic has indeed forced us to reset our mindset as we navigate the new normal. This new normal has mandated us to think outside the box and to be creative. It has created new ways for us to continue with the job at hand. Your conference, being held virtually, is a testimony to this fact. As we resit, we have to be contented with the idea that the pandemic has changed our modus operandi in going forward. Hence, we have no choice but to accept the new normal. These challenges have no doubt caused us all to ponder, refocus, prioritize, revisit our strategies, change our routines, and find unusual solutions towards our planned goals. We now send virtual hugs, smiles, hellos, and kisses to our family and friends. Oh, how these changes have impacted us. Despite these challenges, we press on faithfully as we know that we are still a long way off getting all to accept the new normal. However, the onus is upon all of us to work together, to let our emotional intelligence awaken a concern and care for each other like never before. It is through God's direction, our collective efforts, ideas, and creative innovations that we are able to carry on and be successful. The survival of us all rests solely upon us. We are definitely our brothers and sisters' keeper, and the pandemic has shown us that we need each other more than ever. Congratulations once again, and I wish a productive conference. God bless.
I bring you greetings from the Council for Technical and Vocational Education and Training. On behalf of the counselors and staff of the Council for Technical and Vocational Education and Training, Guyana, I extend warmest greetings and wishes to the membership of the Caribbean Association of Home Economics on the association's 40th anniversary. This 40th anniversary of the association, which coincides with your 24th Biennial Conference, is more so celebratory as it falls at a time which is so relevant, as reflected in the conference's theme, Home Economics Mindset Reset, Navigating the New Normal. As such, as home economics practitioners, let this noble career continue to respond to the existing challenges and changes as the new normal is being navigated. Once again, best wishes for a successful biennial conference and years of continued service to the region as we seek to impact our space while creating and ensuring the fullness of life to all and for all. Thank you so much.
Dr. Husteved, Mrs. Walker, and Mr. Scott. Thank you so very much for those warm greetings, those words of encouragement. Thank you so much, President of IFHE, for reminding us of the contribution that is being made, has been and is being made by members of CAHE to the international body. And I'm at this point really wanting to single out a President of Honor, Professor Geraldine Hodlin. She is online with us. Welcome, Professor Hodlin. And I'd also like to make mention of Ms. Audrey Drayton, Jones-Drayton, herself another member of the IFHE. And we have had other persons who have served on that international body. And we continue, Dr. Gwendolyn, to give our full support to the International Federation for Home Economics. Thank you, Mrs. Walker, for your words of encouragement and also for the exhortation that you have given to us to be ready to participate to make sure that we manage our situation with COVID. And especially as home economists who are persons who work with families, that we do our work of encouraging families and of building families in helping them to manage this situation. Thank you very much, Mr. Scott, or TVET Council member, for again highlighting the effects of TVET and the work of TVET at this time. We appreciate the words from our persons who brought greetings. An update, ladies and gentlemen, on the number of persons who are with us right now. On Facebook, there are 21 persons. Welcome. On YouTube, there are 80 persons. Welcome. And I see the number on Zoom is going up. We are now at 186. I welcome us all. You know, we talk about COVID and the challenges of COVID. And I did say that COVID it presents opportunities. And we are seeing this right here. I'm seeing persons waving at me. And it's really very happy to see you. So we have, if I can do a quick math, I think we have almost 300 persons online right now, almost 300 at the opening session. First, again, another moment in history. Thank you so very much, everyone, for joining thus far. At this time, this point in the program, I'm pleased to welcome the Bajan Gems Medley, the Royal Barbados Police Force Band, who will present to us a medley of Bajan Gems. This again, ladies and gentlemen, is another opportunity to get up and move, get up and move. You know, one of the things that we are encouraged to do at this time, or what COVID has actually brought to us, is a lot of sitting down. So we have become rather sedentary. And so I am going to encourage you, and I'm going to challenge you to get up. Even as I am rising, I am challenging you and I'm encouraging you to rise. Please, Maureen, rise with me. I see Dr. Alexander, please rise with me. I see you, Amanda, rise. I see Peggy O'Neill. Dr. O'Neill, please rise. It's going to get your blood flowing just before you make your presentation to us. So please, all of those who are on Omega, please rise. I see Penelope Harris, please rise with me. Let us stand as we welcome Victorine. Let us stand as we welcome Cynthia. Let us stand as we welcome the Royal Barbados Police Force Band as they bring to us some gems of Barbados. Welcome, band. you so very much. The Royal Barbados Police Force Band. I'm not seeing you, but I am seeing you in my mind's eye. And I can see the sharp outfits, and I see the baton going, and I see, you know, all of the instruments coming into play. I see movement in the band. As I was seeing movement on the screen, I saw Marilyn waving her flag. I did see Dr. O'Neill doing the shake. She was really getting into it on items 3 and 4 when hardly anyone could stay still. Right, Vanetta? I saw you. I saw you all moving, and it was great to see you participating and just being so engaged. Thank you so very much. Now we're getting to the point where we're going to sit back a little again, and then we're going to be paying keen attention to what we're going to be hearing from our keynote speaker. I am here now calling on Bernadette Alspear to present to us the keynote speaker.
Madam Chairman, President Pauline Whiteman, and members of the executive leadership team of the Caribbean Association of Home Economists Incorporated, Presidents of Honor of CAHE and of the International Federation for Home Economics, honorary members of CAHE, Dr. Gwendolyn Hosvidit, President of the International Federation for Home Economics, distinguished keynote speaker, Dr. Peggy O'Neill, Reverend Leonie Duncan, distinguished dignitaries of ministries of education across the region, representatives of government and non-governmental agencies and sponsors, delegates, specially invited guests, members of the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Dr. Peggy O'Neill is a lecturer at Brescia University College, London, Ontario, Canada, in the School of Food and Nutritional Sciences and in the School of Leadership and Social Change. Dr. O'Neill is a professional home economist, coordinating editor and board member for the International Journal of Home Economics, and owner and creative director of an arts and entertainment corporation focusing on the art of beautiful living. A supporter of the Stand for Her Land campaign, in February 2020, Dr. O'Neill represented the International Federation for Home Economics on the topic of feminized homelessness at the 58th session of the Commission for Social Development at the United Nations headquarters in New York, USA. Her research contributions and interests includes ethics, policy, arts and the humanities foundations in home economics, portraiture, poetics, and autobiography in leadership education. Let us give Dr. O'Neill a warm Caribbean welcome as she delivers the keynote address at our historic 24th Biennial Conference.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Peggy O'Neill. I'm coming to you from London, Ontario in Canada. And I couldn't be happier to be invited to the Caribbean Association of Home Economists biannual conference with such an incredible theme this year of resetting our mindsets to navigate the new normal. I think that couldn't be a better topic, and I'm just thrilled to be here. I wish that I was there in person with you, being able to network with you in a very personal way and enjoy the beautiful scenery in place. I was in Aruba a number of years ago, and I can't tell you whether I loved the food more or the people. And I think probably the people. It was just such a fabulous experience. And I was absolutely honored and thrilled when I got the invitation to join you today. So thank you very, very much for having me. I hope that you like my ideas. I wanted to share really more some food for thought, things for us to think about in the direction that we may want to take our profession as we move forward, as the conference theme says, as we reset our minds and as we navigate the new normal. Thank you for having me. So I wanted to talk about putting the home back into economics. And we think very often these days about economics being the large social structures, the major institutions, things that are bigger than us. But I think another look at economics and understanding how the home relates to it would be very interesting, especially during these times. And I want to evolve the discussion then to consumer moral leadership, not just during COVID-19, but as we're starting to work through a new normal. In the early days, we were all hoping for a lot of intervention. I know governments and economists, people all around the world were trying to do their best to respond. And now that we're, as of certain periods of time now past a year based on what country you were in and when the pandemic was officially declared an emergency, most of us are moving now past it a year and into the second year. So a call for us to really understand what the new normal is as we see food shortages or challenges with food, as we start to see housing and accommodations being affected by finances, and as we're starting to really understand affordability of clothing and what our personal finances are looking like. So all of the things that we do as a profession, we've been called on, I think, louder than ever to respond. So I hope you like the talk today. That's the theme, home in economics and consumer moral leadership during COVID-19. So we will go, first of all, to the agenda, and I want to give you a hello from snowy Canada. If you can believe it, this week it did snow. And so I want to say hello from here. I want to start with an introduction and link the mindset reset to this notion of back to the future. And how we're going back to the future is having a look at the nature and history of home economics, the foundations of our profession, and then evolve the discussion to focus on Sue McGregor's 2020 Consumer Moral Leadership paper. And she offered some very interesting perspectives that I think are more relevant than ever now as we are navigating not only education, people are looking for support more than ever on how to better manage their homes, but also how we start to participate in policy and local discussions around what consumers have access to, what are they choosing, what should we choose, and what's really going on as far as production and consumption as we move into the new normal post-COVID. I want to integrate the ideas at the end, and then I'm going to offer some concluding remarks. And definitely, I want to thank you. I want to now move to a hello from sunny Canada. So this picture I took just a few weeks ago, not that very far away. And although the snow may seem so distant to all of the listeners and the people that are joining us today, that same sunshine was shining on all of us. So we were unified by the sun and unified by our profession and unified by dialogue like the conference that is being offered today. So hello from sunny Canada. So the introduction that I want to offer to the talk today is really that the COVID-19 pandemic called out for home economists, I think, more than ever. And we saw a scarcity of resources right across the globe. And normally in production and consumption, there are people that have money and are able to purchase things, and they are always in a position to be able to purchase. But there were backlogs in food and things were happening in housing. Construction was slowed for a bit. Some people did not want to continue with homes that they just purchased because they were uncertain of their financial situation. So the scarcity of resources, whether you actually had income or not, was something very new for many parts of the world. And I know that that's not necessarily new in the Caribbean, similar societies and communities to many other places in the world, but there was added pressures and exaggeration of some of the things that we normally have in our homes and are able to build our homes with that were interrupted during COVID-19. We have seen a response to that, and many governments and businesses have now replenish the things that we saw in shortages in the early years or early times of COVID, that we're not sure now the long-term effects of some of the interrupted trade agreements and other financial pressures. And so we're all watching from an economic perspective on the continued supply of the things that we need every day. Stores were closed and trades and merchandising was delayed. That is new. We just are in somewhat uncertain times, and we are all responding. Some of us are getting good news, and we have certain provisions lifted as far as responding to the pandemic. Changes occur, and then restrictions are put back on. So things are evolving, and it is iterative. We are very optimistic right now with the news of vaccines and various activities going on in our communities and in the world. But the reality is we're all still waiting and watching a little bit. The emphasis on sanitation, not only of our physical selves, but our homes and our communities, was at an all-time high during COVID. And certainly that's been a part of what home economics has been since its inception. We also had a change in our global community with travel. So either travel to get to our families. I know at my university, we have a number of wonderful, wonderful students from the Caribbean, and we love having them. And I know that there are many people in the Caribbean enjoying either families or they are studying or working. And so COVID put some changes into the way we all understood our mobility, our ability to live our daily lives as we had become accustomed to. And so that had implications with also stay-at-home orders. So used to have either a single parent working or both parents working or children were off to school. And that really came to a slow, although there has been a recovery during COVID. And so what that did was put an emphasis on the home. The family was home more of the time than usual together. And I think there were some positive effects where families really love each other and enjoyed the time that they had. It also, though, with all of the previous things that I mentioned, the strains of the financial resources, the shortages, some food not being on shelves that people were used to, the inability to harvest and ship things that the world depends on, particularly things that come from the Caribbean that we all love and that support the economy, that there were pressures on the home. So I think COVID-19 brought about, a renewed importance of home economics and the things that are part of our profession and things we need to crusade forward and put out there, not just in our own homes, but in our communities and across the world, and share like we are today in the conference this biennial year. So what I want to focus on today is how home economists can mindset reset to navigate the challenges presented during COVID-19, and how that now more than 1 year later, we need to really go back, I think, to rediscover the nature of our profession. And that includes a history of human agency. And I think more than ever, as we are looking to governments and political structures to try to help us, that's really important. That needs to happen, and needs are immediate and bigger than most governments and economic systems are able to respond to. So we need to go back to really understand the human agency nature of our of our profession, and take a new look at agency as framed as consumer moral leadership by Sue McGregor. So I think those two things go together, and that's why I call it Back to the Future. We're rediscovering or coming into a renaissance or another cycle in home economics. And so I think these both periods of new, back when home economics was brand new, and now when the world is reaching out more than ever for our services, really understanding the renaissance of home economics in the world today. And I think that it's important to remember this, because when we're looked to as the people with the answers, and certainly we have a lot of education and support that we can provide, we're people too, and we have our own worries, and we want to provide the best advice and serve others as well as the profession. So I think that in uncertain times, nature and history can both be a source of comfort and of hope. So reminding ourselves of the nature of our profession and the strong history that we come from is one of the things I want to focus on today. So I thought, as far as the nature of home economics, given the time that I have today, the best way to really look at it was even the etymology of the world. So, or excuse me, of the word. And we go back to ancient Greece, and we see that economics was from oikos, which meant house, and nemen, which meant manage. Excuse me. So as far back as the origin of the word economics, the very foundations of it really was household management. And so I think it's really important to remember the origin and history of our profession and the word economics as we start to understand that it's not just what banks are doing, it's not just what production and some consumption cycles are doing, that in its foundation and in its earlier forms, it really was household management. So I thought it was important for us to recall that our nature is the home as far back as the word economics emerged. And I think also it's important to recall that as we think of the home as a fundamental economic and ethical unit that can help in a very significant way, and that not everything is a large social institution, and that our own agency in our own homes and our ability, not just metaphorically, but really actually to change the world, that it is part of our nature as home economists. And certainly it's part of what economy is, as evidenced in the derivation of the word. In our history, Ellen Swallow Richards in the late 1800s and early 1900s, as everyone likely knows, is that she was an environmental scientist, and she was trying to improve conditions through the home as people were starting to own their own properties and care for their own families, and shifted away from boarding houses or being either servants with this long gap between the people that owned the land, whether that be monarchies or other, and people were starting to run their own lives. So as a environmental scientist and a humanitarian, she was looking for answers. And in 1919, so 1909, more than 100 years ago, she said, science has to apply its knowledge to improve that unit of the community, the home, for upon the welfare of the home depends the welfare of the commonwealth. So again, this idea that the home is the basic economic and ethical unit, and that from the home are societies and communities and humanity as well. And she said to the teachers of home economics subjects have the greatest chance in the world. So you definitely see the humanitarian and the integral to life nature of home economics based on our very derivation of the word economics and through the very history of our profession. And so I think that because since the inception, the essence of economics has been management of the home, and that the well-being of nations and humanity depend on household management, and teaching agency in home economics gives the greatest chance in the world, that it's really important for us to recall the nature and history of home economics as both a moral and ethical imperative. And it's more relevant in the world more than ever today as we try to navigate the new normal. So I want to move now to McGregor's consumer moral leadership. So we jumped to the future. We had a look at the past and the origin of the word economics and the very essence of what Ellen Swallow Richards was trying to do almost more than 100 years ago today, that jump forward to 2020, taking a look at a recent article from, I believe, one of the greatest philosophic writers in home economics in the world today is Sue McGregor, and her recent paper on consumer moral leadership. In a personal communication with Sue, I'll read you what she said to me. And she said, as a modest estimate, the average person enters into at least 1 million consumer transactions over the span of a lifetime. And she based that on 75 years of consumption during ages 15 to 80, and 35 decisions a day, totaling just under 1 million. This guesstimate puts a face to the scope of people's consumption behavior over the span of their lifetime. People tend to view these purchases as single events, albeit cumulative in nature. From this disparate, fragmented perspective, it's easy to dismiss the lifetime impact of these decisions. And I think that she's right. I buy my groceries and then I eat them, and then I plan my wardrobe for the year and I wear it. But when I look at my span of my life and the decisions that I am making and how that affects the origin of where they were made, how that affects what's left for others if I buy a lot of things and stockpile them in my own shelves, if I don't recognize my own power as someone producing and consuming in a complex continuum, that I think the significance of it can get lost. And so I wanted to share with you what Sue shared with me, because it brings, again, a new lens over 100 years later to the importance that we have as agents acting in our homes, and as home economists reminding people that we can do something. We may not all be able to change, find the next vaccine for the pandemic. We may not eliminate all world hunger. We may not be able to eliminate all of the economic duress, but that doesn't mean that we can't do something. And I think that when we see pockets of success in individual areas, that will expand out, because successful individuals then want to help their communities, which then want to help their nations, which then want to help the world. So we really do build the world through our homes. And I think that when we look at the consumer decisions that we make and the agency that we have, it's now more important than ever as we mindset reset that we can do something, that we don't have to wait only for social institutions, although that is important, and that we navigate the new normal, that we start to see what we can do and work with governments to make sure that more people are in positions to be able to do that. So the article that I'm referring to from Sue McGregor is Consumer Moral Leadership, and she published that in Factus Pax, so the Journal of Peace, Education, and Social Justice. And so you can see, again, by the very nature of where this was published, that the individual consumer has a very significant and impactful ripple out into the world. And I think now more than ever, we need to remember that as we see a lot of fear, a sense of overwhelm, that we do have to remember there's always something, however small, that we can do. And that action does contribute in a way to the forward motion of change and the importance that the home and home economics has in that forward motion. So the moral construct that Sue offers on consumer moral leadership is a new idea, and she wants to have more theoretical verification of that. And she arrived at it through the academic method, scholarly method called conceptual integration. So while it is a new idea, I think it is still important enough, given our history and our nature, to talk about it as we're rethinking how we're moving forward, developing curriculums, assisting people, consulting in our practices, advising in government. And that consumer ideology has, in some places in varying degrees, it's been a very consumer ideology. So how do we have a lot? How do we have the next thing? How do we keep up with what's current? And while those may be fun things to do, they may not be a sustainable economic model over time, either for ourselves or for the world. So she questions the idea, the historical idea, that consumers are efficient managers, that they're going to rationally make decisions and it will be logical and linear. That she shifts her perspective on the role of consumer now, not only as an individual household manager, but also as we participate in political dialogue, that there is a role in peace education for what home economists are doing, because ultimately, many times in periods of duress, people who are in duress and the economic injustices, not only in the homes, but across the world, can cause difficult situations. And as I said before, if we well manage our homes with the resources we have and help others to be in a position to do that, we can extend out into the world and have better governments and better economic policy. So Sue wanted to reorient the consumer to the idea of moral leader. And so here's her basic flow chart and her thinking about the aspects of consumer moral leadership. And she says drawing on moral intelligence, one, so that the consumer and the home economist understands the role that the choices in the market makes, that while exercising moral self-discipline, meaning that I might want 3 pieces of pie, I might want 4 sweaters, but if I don't meet them and someone else does, whether that's because there's a supply shortage, as we saw various times throughout COVID, or whether that's just it needs to be redirected somewhere else so someone can have it, particularly in food, that consumers would act from a position of moral integrity. So that execution of action as we're making decisions and building our homes and educating students and consumers, that with moral courage, they engage in the marketplace. It's very difficult sometimes to say, I'm not going to do that anymore, or I will purchase this because of the way it is produced, or because of the way it has been shared or distributed, or because of the things that the firm does who produced that. That from a moral self-transcendence, meaning we get away from, I want to have more in my house and I've got to stockpile my food and I've got to make sure that my house is big and I've got to have all of, should have, all the things that I want, that we alter the discern and moral intensity of the consumer purchase situation so that we're more mindful before we buy. I once saw somebody in the early days of COVID with 30 chickens in her cart. And I wondered if her family was going to eat a whole chicken every single week for the outlooking future in COVID, or whether that was just a pattern of wanting to be sure that she and her family had enough, which is understandable. But to think about when there were other people lined up and there were no chickens left, that there would be people in the community that weren't getting chickens. So that's only as an example, that after we think about the point of purchase as a moment of moral intensity, to think about what it is we're doing, what can we leave for others, what are we doing to help others based on what we purchase. So following this line of thought, she offers that consumer would make morally responsible actions, anticipating that others will recognize, accept, and be inspired by their moral authority and follow their lead. So I think that statement really calls out to home economists. And I know for sure, for me, making sure that my home, I'm applying all of the things that I know really, really well in my home, so that as people become aware of my the beautiful packed lunch that they see me eat, whether that's that they see me coordinate a wardrobe really well, not a lot of clothes, but a lot of different things, whether that's that they see my home is modest and well kept and paid for, that I think that we're called upon now as home economists more than ever to try to show the way, not only in our own example, but help teach others do the same. So we've got to rely on our body of knowledge and our expertise and our charisma to get these messages out there. So when we think of the items that Sue mentioned and the factors that are really important, is there are virtues that we, not only as home economists, but are sharing and teaching others that comes up in Sue's talk or paper. And I thought a picture of this globe with the hands of a youngster was very important, because we think of the future of the world, we think of the future of our families. And I also liked it because of where in the world the globe was facing and how relevant that was for the conference. So some of the things that Sue's offering is that this notion of moral intelligence, that we do have a duty to educate consumers and the people in our communities and in the world of what consumption behavior, what it actually is, and all the things we know as home economists. The notion of self-discipline, so whether that's self-discipline in our education and finding out the knowledge we need to well run our homes, or whether that's that self-discipline to actually do that. And certainly I'm not saying I like treats better than anyone. And I also like to save up and splurge on certain higher priced items. But I do need to exercise my own personal version of self-discipline to be sure that there is something left for others. And that links into integrity, that value alignment with me as a home economist and what we're trying to foster in the people we teach, and the courage to do so, because there are lots of motivations to either stockpile or to consume beyond what's needed, or really just not demonstrate behaviors that are possibly not the most helpful given the circumstances in the world. So really coming to that self-transcendence and moving from that me to we mentality, and that seeing the point of purchase as a moment of intensity, that it's not a casual, sure, I'll have this and spend this dollar or that dollar, or it's payday, so we're going to have this incredibly wonderful, first 3 days, and then we don't have very much to eat till the next payday. So those types of things, and viewing every purchase as a mindful moment. And through doing that, demonstrating authority and wonderful example that we can inspire others to do the same. And as an example, show them it is possible in periods of overwhelm and uncertainty. So I think if you get a chance to read this article, that would be very, very important, because there's only a small amount of time in the brief keynote, but it is fantastic. And I think it's wonderful food for thought. And I think it calls to us as home economists in a new way for us to mindset reset, that wherever we have been as a profession, that we are needed more than ever, whatever over things we had to overcome in terms of academic programming or funding for what we do, that our messages are more important today than they have ever been. So we've been called upon in a different way. And I think there's a lot of positive messages that our profession offers. And I think that it behooves us to put them out there to the world. So just to integrate the ideas before I close, I just wanted to close with that since the beginning of economics as a discipline and as home economics as a profession, the home has been considered the basic economic and moral agent in the marketplace, society, and humanity. And I think that it's our call to action more than ever now to live out and fulfill our unique role and the stabilizing effect that we can have in the social and environmental uncertainty. We have methods and information and education that we can offer that will help others in a significant way. And I think that teaching and practicing McGregor's consumer moral leadership will help families maintain the financial and personal integrity when they're facing the economics of the new normal brought on by the COVID pandemic and all that we have yet to face, which hopefully is less pressure than what we've had in the last year. But not knowing in this moment, I think it's important for us to carry on with the work that we do. So in conclusion, I just wanted to say that we know our work, and we know we are a stabilizing force in the world because of the unique information that we have and the heritage and nature that we have, that we are needed now in the world more than ever. And I want to call out to you and let you know that I'm going to be working at it, that let's, as home economists, rise together and shine. And I just want to thank you very, very much for having me. And it's been a real privilege and honor. And if you would like to connect with me, my email is poneil2@uwo.ca. And I'd love to carry on the dialogue. And I think that it would be fantastic to hear more of your thoughts on this topic and how we can move forward together. And I hope you have a wonderful conference. Thank you very much for having me. And let me know if you ever come to Canada when things settle down, and maybe we can connect.
Dr. Peggy O'Neill, thank you, thank you, thank you. What a rich presentation. I'm not the person to say thank you, but I must comment on the call that you have made. You have called us as home economists to show the way, to show the way. I found that to be very, very interesting, and I found it to be quite a call. You called us, Dr. O'Neill, to be other-centered as consumers. You called us to educate consumers through our own demonstration of our responsibility as consumers of integrity, courage, discipline, and intelligence, among others. And finally, you called us to live out and fulfill our unique role as a stabilizing force in the world. What a call, home economists. What a call, not to be missed, but one to be followed. We must follow up on it, Dr. O'Neill. And I really, really thank you for, in this very brief presentation, just presenting us with so much food for thought. Really, really very useful and just stimulating and encouraging and inspiring. Thank you so much. I must say, though, that the person who is to say thank you at this point is Mrs. Bernadette Alspear, who is the Assistant Treasurer of CAHE, because the person who introduced Dr. O'Neill was actually Mrs. Arith May Gums, the Chairperson of the Public Relations Committee of CAHE. Before Mrs. Alspear makes her presentation, though, in saying thank you to Dr. O'Neill, I must welcome and recognize the presence of Mrs. Vida Gill. Now, Mrs. Vida Gill is our oldest past president, or oldest president of honor. And I would love to say that she is here with us this evening. A very, very special welcome to you, Mrs. Gill. So kind and so calm and so quiet. I mean, she is really a treasure. She is quite a gem for us as home economists in CAHE. And I want to say a very, very special word of welcome to you, Mrs. Gill. We are so happy that you're here sharing the moment with us. Ladies and gentlemen, I now call on Mrs. Alspear to do the appreciation.
Madam Chairperson, President Pauline Whiteman and members of the Executive Leadership Team of Caribbean Association of Home Economists, CAHE, Presidents of Honor of CAHE and IFE, the International Federation of Home Economists, Honorary members of CAHE, Dr. Gwendolyn Husbeth, President of IFE, distinguished keynote speaker, Dr. Peggy O'Neill, Reverend Dione Duncan, distinguished dignitaries of the ministries of education across the region, representatives of government and non-governmental agencies and sponsors, delegates, specially invited guests, artists, members of the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Well, I am sure that you all were thrilled by that excellent speech that was delivered by our keynote speaker, Dr. Peggy O'Neill. She truly can be described as a professional home economist. The information that she imparted, I know, will resound in your memories from now until time immemorial. And so Dr. Peggy O'Neill, for delivering such a beautiful speech, the CAHE representatives would like to give you a small token of our appreciation. Dr. Peggy O'Neill, I hope you truly enjoy this small token of our appreciation for delivering at our CAHE conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Alspear. Truly, Dr. O'Neill, we thank you for being our keynote speaker this evening. At this time again in our program, ladies and gentlemen, and we are coming down nicely. And for my sake, I'm happy for that, because in a little while, I must be home. Curfew calls. We are under lockdown in Jamaica. I'm actually out on the special permission, and so I don't want to overextend my welcome. But I'd like to say that at this time, I am going to ask us again to change our position, because coming to us, we have talent from Guyana with steel and dance. feel free to get up and join in as we pay keen attention to this presentation. Steel and Dance from
vital faces, suffering faces, evil, smiling, senile faces, Madonna faces, Mephistopheles faces, faces of Guyana, faces of the world. Ebony face of imperious caste, recalling a throne of lion skins and tribal chiefs in splendid robes, hearing the adulation of eloquent drums. Passing now by Silver Valley face, reminiscent of the wisdom of the ancient East, of Confucius, pagodas, exquisite jade, Buddha transplanted to the West among mahogany faces, inscrutable as the mountain rock, impenetrable as the deep forest from whence they emerge, as silent, suggesting Canaima, Iron Ghana, El Dorado, the golden one. Gold flashing from another face, Moshika of strange gods, in temples of intricate design, redolent of haunting music and the Taj Mahal. Face of eternal woman, expressing maternal fulfillment, mingled with anxiety for children with upturned faces who question. Ever they seek to unravel the mysteries inherent in existence from sympathetic paternal faces. Woman, man, child, mahogany, ebony.
Thank you so much, Guyana. They never fail to represent their country. We remember Guyana fondly at all our conferences. We have fond memories of colors that Guyana spoke about last conference. And so we thank you, Guyana, for your presentation on Steel and Dance. Ladies and gentlemen, I am very pleased to say that we have spent, I think, very precious moments together this evening, engaged in thoughts and wonder and reminders about what we are called to do as home economists, about how we are to face the future in this time of COVID-19, how we are to help others, to do what we know that we are called to do as persons who facilitate families to improve their quality of life. This is the start, really, of 2 days to come, 3 days of conference. We have completed 1 day. This morning in our service, we were encouraged to focus on faith, even as we go through this pandemic. This evening, we were called to focus on being responsible and other-centered as we help others navigate the pandemic. And this tomorrow, we're going to be doing more of this, and on Tuesday, we are going to be doing more of this. So please, stay with us, join us as we learn and as we come together to think through how we navigate the new normal in which we are now called to exist. I'm very pleased, ladies, to say a very big thank you to you for joining us. But again, the responsibility is not mine, and so I will not usurp Ms. Guy. And at this time, I call on Ms. Michelle Guy to move the vote of thanks. Following Michelle's presentation, we will close with the CAHE song, and then following up on that, Mrs. Angela Graham Rodolfo will engage us in the meet and greet. A very, very special good evening to all of us, ladies and gentlemen. I'm saying that now even as I take my leave from this stage, but to join you on Zoom because I must get home by 8 o'clock. I'm under curfew and I must get home before the government asks me to sleep elsewhere. I'd love to sleep in my bed tonight, and so I will join you on Zoom. I know you're going to be well taken care of by Mrs. Guy and Mrs. Graham Rodolfo. A very, very special good evening to you, and all the very best as we continue tomorrow and Tuesday in this wonderful setting of first CAHE conference online in COVID-19. What an opportunity. We welcome it with open arms as we go forth in this new era. May God bless you, Mrs. Guy, and then Mrs. Rodolfo. Even, yes, and we will sing the CAHE song as well. You take care now and walk good.
Madam Chairperson, Dr. Leonie Clark, Reverend Leonie Duncan, President and Executive Members of the Caribbean Association of Home Economists CAHE, Presidents of Honor CAHE, Honorary Members of CAHE, President and Executive Members of the International Federation for Home Economics, President of Honor IFI, Distinguished Keynote Speaker, distinguished members of the various ministries of education, specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, students, good evening. It is an honor to stand here this evening to express profound gratitude and appreciation to all of you who have made CAHE's inaugural e-conference a reality. First of all, thanks to Almighty God for His grace and mercy, in that we are counted blessed to be alive to participate in this activity and to celebrate the 48th anniversary of the association. Permit me to thank the Reverend Leonie Duncan for invoking God's blessings and guidance on today's proceedings. Special thanks to Dr. Peggy O'Neill for accepting CAHE's invitation to be the keynote speaker of this ceremony. You have captured our attention with your thought-provoking, inspirational address. Thanks for challenging us to be better consumers in our homes and lives during this challenging period. Thank you. Thanks also to CAHE President, Ms. Pauline Whiteman, for extending welcome to all our delegates and for your brief remarks. To the following persons, I say a special thank you. CAHE Secretary, Ms. Keisha Wendt, for her introduction of the executive members and very creative recognition of our delegates. To Dr. Gwendolyn Husteved, President, International Federation for Home Economics, for your presence and for the warm greetings extended. Mrs. Elizabeth Walker, Chief Education Officer, Ministry of Education, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, thank you for your greetings and also for your congratulations extended to CAHE. Mr. Floyd Scott, Director of the Council for Tibet in Guyana, thank you for your greetings. To Mrs. Iris McGums, Chairperson, Relations Committee CAHE, and Ms. Bernadette Alsper, Assistant Treasurer CAHE, for introducing and extending our appreciation, respectively, To Dr. Peggy O'Neill, our guest speaker, thank you, ladies. To all of the talented and wonderful artists who have provided entertainment, a big thank you for your beautiful renditions that provided feast to the eyes and sweet notes to the ears. No doubt, many of us were rocking and tapping our feet to the beat. Special thanks to our President of Honor, namely Mrs. Vida Gill of Barbados, Ms. Zola Holder of Trinidad and Tobago, Mrs. Norma Maynard of St. Lucia, and Mrs. Audrey Jones-Drayton, Barbados, for gracing us with your presence and for the foundation laid for the development of the association. Also, special thanks to our honorary members, Dr. Curtis McIntosh, Mrs. Catherine Cumberbatch, and Dr. Fitzroy Henry, for your presence and for your service rendered to the association. To the chairperson of the CAHE Conference Planning Committee, Mrs. Audrey Jones-Drayton, and the E-Conference Planning team, thank you for this initiative in bringing us all together as one, though we are many, many miles apart. To Mr. Jerome Shepherd and his team for your patience, creativity, and production of this evening's event, and for the days ahead. We could not have done it without you. Madam Chairperson, Dr. Leonie Clark, First Vice President CAHE, thank you for your grace and fervor in which you ably conducted this evening's ceremony. Finally, to all of you, thank you for your presence and your time and for sharing this very special moment with us. I pray that you continue to have a wonderful evening, stay safe, and may God bless us all. Thank you.
Chart a course through the region. Our aim is to work hand in hand to educate the whole Caribbean, make a better life for everyone. CAHE, we will work with you to build a stronger avenue for home ec learning. Will do to Caribbean home economists, Caribbean home economists, Caribbean home economists. March on, march on, march on. Bridge the gap in education, promote partnerships that we can learn from. Let each one teach one to build professionalism and strengthen home economics education. CAHE, we will work with you to put home ec on a higher level, impact positively on all our people, especially the youth. They depend on you. So Caribbean home economists, Caribbean home economists, Caribbean home economists. March on, march on, march on. especially the youth, they depend on you. So Caribbean, home economist, Caribbean, home economist, Caribbean, home economist. March on, march on, march on.
Let's see who is in the house today. And remember, it's COVID. And let us see what has been happening with this pandemic. As we said, COVID has allowed all of us to change our views on as individuals, and let us realize our duty. Let's see who is in the house. So I'm asking you at this time, turn on your videos, and let's go in order. Who is here? Those on Zoom, again, put on your videos. Those on YouTube and Facebook, just do a quick buzz and send us a chat. Our question is, what's going on? Antigua and Barbuda, let's see the Antigua and Barbudans. Wave your hand, put on your video, let's see you. Okay, those in the chat, let us put on those, all the Antigans, put a little name on your video. Let us see, Australia, the Australian, give us a wave. Barbados is in the house. Bajan. Let's see the Bajan. Come on, Miss Madam Consultant, let's see you. British Virgin Islands. Let's go. BVI. Let's see you. Commonwealth of Dominica. Wave your hand. Grenada. Are you in the house, Grenada? What about Guyana? Guyana, let me see you. Come on, Guyanese, come on. Okay, let's move on. Our host, let's up flags, everything. Let's go. Jamaica. Where are the Jamaicans? Come on, let me see the light. Jamaica. Where are the Americans? I am seeing it's Toronto, Puerto Rico. On Puerto Rico, your hand. St. Croix. St. Kitts, where are you? St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Let me see you, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The Bahamas. Let's go, Bahamas. Well, as you see in my red, let me see the Trinidad. Come on, let's wave us. We have United States Virgin Islands, let me see you, give us a wave. And United States of America, let me see you. So we are all in the house. Hi, Dr. Forsyth. We have Ms. Gail, our oldest financial member from Barbados. We have Janine Duncan, our vice president from IFH. Ms. Duncan, wave your hand to you. At this time, we want to take a special thank you. See who is in the house again. We want to big up someone. 2 persons, as we on here. Persons you want to big up, you want to see them here. We have congratulations to all scholarship winners, but we want to big up 2 persons. Maya Singh from Lakshmi Girl in Trinidad, and there is Vera James. Vera, let me see you up here. Vera, let us put our hands together for our open scholarship winner, and she is a economist. Her field is she wants to be a dietitian. So, Vera James from Tobago. Vera, let me see you. Wave your hand. Come on, Vera. And the other, let us put our hands together for her and all our scholarship winners. We thank you so much. What an afternoon. So we want to just go before we say goodbye for tomorrow, please God. We want to hear what's happening in your region. Anyone, give me your cultural language or your slang for stay at home. Antigua, what do you say? How do you say stay at home in Antigua? Australia, how do you say stay at home? I want to hear, okay, I know the mic cannot undo the mic, but we have the stay at home and the Jamaican have a special twang. No, you will hear about that. Please go. DJ Martin, are you there? All right. We are asking DJ Martin to just do what he does best. And while we wait on him, tomorrow, please God, and Tuesday, we have exciting days ahead. As was mentioned, tomorrow's is 2. That's Monday 20. And remember, Jamaican time and everyone else, tomorrow's disruptive technologies. We have our concurrent sessions, we have our webinar, and students, we have your forum. Day 3 is Tuesday, Thursday, and Trinidad and Tobago is holiday. So come out in your numbers. We have in a whole meeting on day 3. Also sitting with ministers. And to wrap up the evening on Tuesday, we have a cultural evening. What we want for this cultural evening, we are asking everyone. It starts at p.m. Jamaica, 7 p.m. all other territories. So we are asking everyone, please wear your national color. I was advised that something is and I am trying to see what is it, but tomorrow, please remember, day 2, disruptive technology, and day 3, our town hall meeting, sitting with the masters, and to close off our cultural evening. The cultural evening especially, you cannot miss it. So come in your cultural wear, your typical wear. So everyone, it has been a wonderful evening. So I'm going to ask you And let us change our position. Change your position. And we say goodbye, farewell, until we meet tomorrow morning at 9. Have a wonderful evening and a wonderful night, everyone. Take care and goodbye.
And I man forward, a different scene. And I man cali weed, and I man clean. Everything was irate, in the groove. I just a come down to movement when someone said, "Don't move." Well, it must be a dopey Aragon man. I man not find out yet. I and I so frightened. All the data name I forget. Well, must be a dopey Aragon man. I never stopped to sleep. Worry was a boy to I man last night. He couldn't follow, him couldn't follow, him couldn't follow me. Next day the doctor asked me, "What happened to you last night? Just when you're ready, you work you sure. You get stage fright. It was a dread from across the gully. Just passing through. Beside me run little Joe. He wouldn't trouble you. Well, it must be a dopey Aragon man. I might not find out yet. I and I so frightened. All the thought and name I forget. Well, it must be a dopey Aragon man. I never stopped to sleep. Worry was a boy to I man last night. He couldn't follow, he couldn't follow, he couldn't follow me. Another happy home for sale. One more love has failed. Two more fools have tried. But they got so much pride inside their foolish hearts they don't believe in giving in. Though they know they both can win. One's right, one must be wrong. But forgiving makes a love grow stronger. When the pieces of your love are scattered far and wide, bend down, bend down, bend down, pick them from the ground now. Just forget your foolish pride. Let peace and love abide. Bend down, bend down, bend down, pick them from the ground. Don't fuss and fight no more. Love can open any door. Love will find a way to bring you happy, happy days now. Forget your sorrow now. Live for tomorrow now. Never let your children pay for anything you said today now. When the pieces of your love are scattered far and wide, bend down, bend down, pick them from the ground now. Just forget your foolish pride. Let peace and love abide. Bend down, bend down, bend down, pick them from the ground now. Have you ever been inside rainy, rainy night, holding you baby tight. Well, I have. Have you ever had your dreams, a long forgotten schemes, coming true? It seems that I have. Have you ever been to bed with the music in your head, forgetting your daily bread? Well, I have. I tell you, friend, it's true. It's a pretty thing to go through, but just between me and you. Yes, I have. The rain is coming down, coming down. The raindrops coming down. Me and my baby holding tight, doing alright. I hope it never stops. The rain is coming down, coming down. The raindrops coming down. Me and my baby holding tight, doing alright. I hope it never stops. Oh man, I left the car out in the rain with all the windows down. Forget it. Rasta Ozzy from up the hill decide to check on him grocery bill. And when him add up the things he need, the money done where him safely buy little weed. Him hand on him jar, Lord, reading iron just meditating. The time is so hard, Lord, I might not think of immigrate. I make up in mind, Lord, I might as well go against Simon Fate. So I forward a market, as I could put your boy by the gate. You want what? No, I might have kill like queen. Try beef now. I not take to no grass like green. What about fall? What I know is time the change. Me a fish. Got children out, I got rain. How about this day? What I know you know sight the green. Try. Hold the belly when I pull me pipe. Alright, hold the pull. Push your mouth like me brethren here. Sell I account at that thing here. Then the butcher pull up a stool. Begin to question, I'll say how him so cool. What kind of something cooking a pot? From him born him never did hear about that. Well, watch I know master. If I time like I try explain. It's just like a flame show. We protect the humble with change in name. I would have been so cute. We come in and ask for some honor back. I feel safe. If we change the subject and call it that.